Good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our very first live assembly from the Warrender household with Medical Mavericks. If you don't know me, I am Tom. I'm the head honcho of inspiration at Medical Mavericks. And this young lady here, my glamorous assistant, is my daughter Beatrice. Say hello to everyone, Beatrice.
Hi.
And we're going to be running some amazing demos on our cardiovascular system today. And that's going to involve looking at our heart and looking at our blood vessels in our neck and our arms and inside our abdomen as well. So there was a question on the screen just a moment ago asking you, where do you think you've got a pulse? So you should have been thinking about that. Where have you got a pulse in your body? Where do you think you've got a pulse, B?
Your heart.
Your heart is your main pulse, definitely, yes. Anywhere else? Where can we check for a pulse? Where do you think? What about in your neck?
Oh yeah, we could check in our neck.
Yeah, good stuff. So that's one place. I'm going to go from head to toe where you can check a pulse. So the best two fingers to use are kind of these two fingers. Okay, don't use your thumb and finger if you can. Use these two. And we go from head to toe. So sometimes you can feel a pulse in your temples. Okay, you have to sit very still to find those ones. Just in there. Okay. You've got one in your neck, either side, in here. This is your carotid artery, and we're going to have a look at this a bit later on. Okay, just by where your trachea comes down, just to the back, just inside there. Just along your elbow here, you can feel a pulse sometimes. Just kind of along that lump just there. Okay. You've got two in your wrist. You've got one kind of just on the top here, your radial artery on your radius, and you've got one quite deep, just kind of in there. So you've got one around this side, and you've got one down this side. It's quite deep. You can't really feel that one very well, but there is a pulse down there as well. Then moving down your body, I'm going to stand up, okay, because you've got femoral arteries in your groin, just down there, okay, you've got one either side, and then you've got one behind each knee, on the back of your knee. Can we see that on mine? If I stand up on the chair, kind of just about there, in this kind of area, you've got a pulse as well. And then you can also find a pulse on top of your foot and behind the inside of your ankle. So just about, putting my foot on the table, you ready, B? My foot on the table. So kind of just on the inside along there, you get a pulse, and just on the top there. So those are all of your pulse points, okay? So what about listening to a pulse? Some of you may have seen this last year when we went on MedicFest, okay? So Beatrice, can we have a listen to your pulse? I need this arm, please, if possible. So we have to put some gel on there like that. Turn up the volume. Yeah, we just turn up the volume a bit for you. Yeah, of course I can. Bit of feedback there. Let me just do something with the volume for you all. Here we go. Bit of live editing there. That should be better. Hopefully you can hear that now. Okay, so I'm going to put this. This is called a pulse Doppler, and it uses ultrasound waves. These are sound waves that we can't hear. So this is on now, and I can't hear anything out of the end of the device there. Okay, but it's sending sound waves that are way above our hearing frequency, and I'm going to pop this onto Beatrice's arm, and hopefully we'll be able to hear her pulse. Can you hear that? It's kind of got a weird wobble sound. And hopefully you'll be able to hear. It's kind of got three sounds. It kind of goes whoop 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 whoop. Can you do that, B? Yeah, very good. Okay, so that kind of three sounds you could hear is called a triphasic pulse, and it's three sounds. Tri means three, and those three sounds. The first one was the blood speeding up and going through your blood vessel, and then when your heart relaxes, the blood goes backwards just very slightly, so it goes the wrong way, and then your arteries kind of squeeze back and recoil because they've been stretched, and it pushes the blood along again and it creates that third sound. So your blood kind of goes whoop 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 whoop. Okay. Now, if you've got kind of poor blood vessels and they're kind of a bit more stiff and rigid, so my granddad last year, sadly he passed away, but he was 103. And when we did this on my granddad, his arteries sounded very different because his arteries were 103 years old. So they were very, 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 very stretchy. So they weren't very stretchy. So instead of having this kind of what, what kind of sound, we had more of a what. That's called a diphasic. And then if someone's really poorly and has really kind of hardened and stiffened arteries, the sound would be more like a what. There's one sound instead of the three. That's a really, really cool tool to use to actually listen to how your kind of arteries are helping move blood around your body. Okay. Now, what we can also do is look at how fast this blood is going to move around our body. And I'm going to use a piece of kit called an ultrasound. Okay, I'm going to put it up on the screen now, where we're going like this. So this is my ultrasound machine, and we're going to have a look at my blood vessels in here. Okay, so you can see we've actually got fantastic. We've got nearly 500 people watching. This is amazing. Okay, so St John's Ambulance Cadets in Doncaster, just seen you pop up. Hello in Doncaster. Okay, so I'm going to pop this probe on my neck, and what you want to look for is a kind of black space here. Try and get a good position. Like that. And if we press this button on my machine, and I can just line this all up on the screen, it's a bit like a target. I know it's a bit blurry on your screen in a minute, but you want to try and listen. If we get this right, hopefully we'll be able to hear by pulsing this and get a speed. So that was kind of a bit like a similar kind of sound to the pulse Doppler. But if you look on the screen here, there's these waveforms being formed. Okay, and there's a little graph at the side here. And this is your speed in centimetres per second. Okay, so we've got 100 centimetres a second, that's a metre. Okay, and then obviously you've got 50 down here. And if we kind of measure where the peak, as I can see here, and go across, my blood flow speed there, if I got it just right, was about 70 centimetres a second. So if you could draw a line on a piece of paper that was 70 centimetres long, the blood would flow along that bit every second. Okay, that's kind of how fast the blood's going to my head. Okay, it's pretty cool, isn't it, that? Okay, I did it earlier, I got it to about 100, I was doing some exercise, seeing how fast I can get my blood kind of pumping, and it went over a metre per second, which is pretty cool, okay? Right then, what we're going to do next, B, let's look at your ECG. So we've looked at some blood vessels, we've looked at the artery. Just grab some tissue for my neck. If we want to look at the heart and how the heart works, we can record something called an ECG. And these are the electrical signals from your heart. These are the wavy lines that kind of go beep, beep, beep. And if it goes beep, you're dead. Okay? So obviously Beatrice isn't dead here, okay? We're going to pop some stickers. Can we see these here? Can I just grab that off you, Beatrice? There we go. That's lovely stuff. Okay. So we've got these little electrodes here that we're going to stick on Beatrice on. Can you put your arms out for me on the table, Beatrice? I have to put them on in a certain order. So I have to put the green one on her wrist, and we have to put the black one kind of up on her elbow, and we have to put the red one there like that. Can you see that there? There we go, love, there you go, you can see that on there, lovely stuff. And we're going to put this one on your wrist over here. Okay. Now, some of you may have had one of these done in a hospital before, and you may have had lots of stickers put on your chest as well. That's called a 12-lead ECG, okay? And a 12-lead ECG produces 12 different kind of graphs, little wavy lines, okay? But you only have about 10 stickers on you. We're doing a 3-lead because we can get 3 different traces, and we're going to look at one specific one, okay? So I want to bring this over to my computer over here, and hopefully we'll get a shot of Beatrice's ECG. Let me just pop this a bit more steadier on there. Lovely stuff. Okay, here we go. That's really nice, Beatrice. Let's start once more. Oops. So straight away I can tell that Beatrice is really excited to be here today doing this, okay? And if we count, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 heartbeats in 5 seconds. So that's kind of roughly, I don't know what, 70 odd beats a minute, 70 to 80 beats a minute, which is pretty normal. That's pretty good. And if I can maybe zoom in on one of these heartbeats, let's do this one just here. Let's zoom in on this one. Let's see if we can do this with one hand. There we go. Let's zoom in. This actually means something. So this little bump just here, that little bump there was Beatrice's pacemaker firing, telling her heart to beat, and that's called your P wave. And then this big spike here, we've got, this is called your QRS. So all these points have got named after letters, so we go QRS. And that's basically Beatrice's ventricles contracting, the electrical signal that made Beatrice's heart contract. And then over here we've got, this is her T wave over this section just here. And that was our heart resetting itself electrically. It's getting ready for the next beat. So if we start from this point here, going to the end one, we're just going through the alphabet. So we go P, Q, R, S, and then T at the very end. That's a perfectly lovely ECG, Beatrice. Your heart is working lovely just there, okay. So you can get different types of ECG using these different wires. So you can put 10 across your chest. We put 3 on Beatrice's arms, and that was a really nice ECG looking at kind of the left side of your heart, Beatrice, okay? So that was pretty cool there, okay? So what if we wanted to have a look at our heart? Well, that's where we use the ultrasound machine again, and we'd use this curved probe instead of the flat one I just used. I want to do this one on myself. It's a little bit awkward to use, so I'm going to do this one on myself, okay? So I'm going to bring back my ultrasound screen. Here we go. And I'm going to select, whoops-a-daisy, just don't knock the camera over before you film me. There we go. We're going to select this one here, the difficult option just here. Let's get my gel. I'm going to put a bit of gel on the end. So hopefully you're going to see my heart. I'm just going to zoom in just ever so slightly. There we go. I'm going to bring it back a little bit as well. Okay. So I know I only just met you all, but here's my heart, okay? So you should be able to see, this image is actually upside down. So this is the bottom of my heart, and this is the top. So these two big black areas are the chambers of my heart, the ventricles, the 2 main ventricles of my heart. Well, hello Isaac in Church Lane, and Daisy in Wordsley. So you can see the heart fluttering around there. So this middle section just here, if I just do it this way, this big thick white line, that is the septum that separates the left and right sides of the heart. This is the tip of the heart, the apex. This is the top down here. If you look very carefully, you can actually see the valves flickering in the middle there. Okay, and if we scroll up a little bit more, if you look just here, there's like a little white line that kind of right in the middle there. Okay, and that little white line are little strings of tendon, and they're called chordae tendinae. And they're little strings that stop the valves from being flipped and inverted. Okay, so that's kind of a normal functioning heart there. If we kind of, so we can get like a different angle so you can kind of see the actual bits of muscle. So my heart's speeding up there. I just took a deep breath in and my heart's speeding up just a little bit. Hello Evie, hello Jane in Nottingham. So that's my heart beating, and that's pretty good, okay? You can see all kinds of other things on your heart, but one of the things I want to know from you guys watching is what else would you like to see at some point in the future in another kind of assembly? We can do all kinds of stuff medically, but let us know in the comments some stuff that you want to see as well, okay? Now we're going to stick with the ultrasound because we're going to go back and have a look at some blood vessels. Okay, so we're going to go back to my flat probe, and we're going to have a look at my carotid artery that we talked about earlier on today. Put some more gel on here. Okay, actually I'm going to come back to the screen so you can see. Guys, you pressed the wrong button. Okay. So we're going to use the flat probe again. And before I put the probe this way around to look at my carotid artery going up my neck, but I'm going to put it this way around like a cross section. So when you look at my image on the screen in a minute on the ultrasound, you're looking for a black disc, okay, a little black circle with a white outline, and it'll be pulsing, and that's a cross section through my carotid artery. Okay, that's what you're looking for. And then I'm going to show you my jugular vein as well, but I'm going to show you my carotid first, okay? So let's go back to my... Let's just adjust this slightly. Oops, daisy, there we go. That's it just there. I'm going to stop talking just for a second so you can see it pulsing. Okay, so that's my carotid artery. Now your artery is like a muscular blood vessel, okay? It's quite rigid, it's kind of circular, it's got a size, and it's got like an actual structured shape, okay? So that's why you can feel your pulse at your pulse points, because those blood vessels are quite muscular and tough, okay? And the hole in them, the lumen, is slightly narrower than the veins. Okay, I'm going to prove that now, okay? Now your veins don't have much muscle around the outside. They're quite kind of, I don't know, they don't have a lot of muscle, but they're very floppy. So that's why on the back of your hand, you can sometimes see your blood vessels popping out and sticking out, but sometimes you can't see them. So at the minute, my blood vessels aren't popping out. Have a look at the back of your hand now and see if the blood vessels are popping out. Are yours popping out, B? A little bit, yeah, not a lot, okay. Now, if you want to make them pop out, you have to do some exercise or get the blood going around your body, okay, and they'll start to pump out. But in your neck, you can make the blood vessels kind of pop out in your neck and in your head by basically taking a deep breath and straining like you're on the toilet, having a poo, okay, a bit like this. Okay, so I'm going to do the same again with the ultrasound on my neck, and hopefully you should be able to see the ultrasound. See my jugular vein appear on the screen, okay? So you're looking at that black disc, that's my artery, and just above it, you're going to see the vein kind of inflate just above it, okay? So I'll bring back the ultrasound. So you want to have a look in this kind of area, just above it, just here. Okay, here we go. So that's my jugular. I'm gonna let go of holding my breath and you'll see it disappear. Ready? Here we go. See it disappear? I'll do it again. Ready? There we go. I'm gonna let go and it's gonna disappear. Ready? It's pretty cool, isn't it? Okay, so you can see my jugular vein kind of inflate as I held my breath. Okay, now we can measure the size of these. I'm going to give you some idea of how big they are because there's no real kind of scale on there. So I'm going to do it again, measure the size, and I'm going to show you something very special about my jugular because I have something very special going on in my neck that not many people have. Okay, so here we go again. So I'll just froze the screen. So I'm going to draw a circle around the carotid artery first. So if you look in the corner just here, it's got the dimensions. Let's move this over across this way so you can see that. There we go. So these are the dimensions of my carotid artery. So it's only just over 1/2 centimetre wide. The circumference is 1.87 centimetres and the area is 0.27 centimetres squared. Okay, let's go and have a look at my jugular vein now. So let's look at the difference here. Let's go across here. Like that. Let's bring it across. So my jugular, I was told by a vascular scientist, which is someone that would do this test, okay? They told me that my jugular vein is what's called a whopper, okay? So you can see here, my jugular is 1.22 centimetres in one way. It's a little bit squished, so the dimensions are a bit out of proportion, but 1.44 centimetres. So my jugular vein is basically double the size of my carotid artery, which is pretty cool. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you on the main camera. I'm going to pop this on my neck and I'm going to move the probe up my neck along the blood vessel because I've got something called a split jugular vein. So everyone watching this, pretty much everyone has got one carotid artery on either side going up to their head and has got one jugular vein coming down either side back to their body. Okay. Now, I've actually got two jugular veins coming down either side that come back into one. It's a bit like the Spice Girls be. To become one. What's the next line? It's like a never. Let's stop there, okay? So I actually got two jugular veins coming down that merge into one. I'm going to show you that split. And you'll know when you can see it on the screen because what you're looking for is Mickey Mouse. Okay, you're looking for Mickey Mouse on the screen. Okay, so let's bring you back onto the ultrasound. Okay, so remember we're looking for Mickey Mouse. Let's put it this way. Okay, here we go. There's my jugular. Here comes Mickey Mouse. Ready? There he is. And then back into one. And then back into two. There's Mickey Mouse. And you can just see there where it merges back into one. And let it go. And they disappear. It's pretty cool, isn't it? So about 1 in 3,000 people have this split in their jugular vein. Okay, and there's no kind of real benefit to having it, okay? They think it's some kind of genetic adaptation that we've got that causes this. So technically I could be in the X-Men, but my only superpower would be this. Not very good superpower, is it?
No.
No, definitely not, okay? Now there's no kind of harm or, there's no kind of anything bad could happen, but there could be, if I had to have some kind of operation on my neck or some kind of procedure, there are some kind of side effects and kind of things I have to watch for with that. So it's a good job I know about that, because if I do have to have an operation on my neck at any point in my life, I should be able to tell the surgeon that I've actually got this kind of weird jugular vein in my neck, okay? Now we kind of talked about arteries, taking blood away from our heart to our organs, and our veins going back to our heart, okay? But what about our capillaries, the tiniest, smallest blood vessels in our body? Okay, capillaries are the blood vessels where oxygen and nutrients are delivered to cells and where waste products and carbon dioxide are taken back into the blood and delivered back to the kind of lungs to get rid of, or the liver to kind of be processed, okay? So your capillaries are going to be deep inside your body in organs and tissues, but there is one place where you can actually see your capillaries using a special piece of kit called a capillary microscope, and that is where your skin actually comes to an abrupt halt, and that place only happens on your fingernail. If you think about your skin, it goes all over your body, but it comes to an abrupt halt just here by your skin, by your fingernail, sorry. And we're going to look, if you zoom it, go on my finger, my manky fingers, okay? This little bit of skin that joins onto your fingernail, okay? That is the bit we're going to look at using this piece of kit right here called a capillary microscope, okay? And I'm going to set this up now. I'm going to put back on my main camera while I get myself set up on this one. Just nudge over just a little bit for me, Beatrice. There we go, lovely. I have to put a little droplet of baby oil to help with the magnification on my fingernail bed just there. And I'm going to pop this in here. I'm just going to get it in focus for you. Now, if we're lucky, where's the camera? It's over there. I don't know why I was looking over there. If we are lucky, you should be able to see some red blood. Yeah, we are. You can actually see my red blood cells moving around my capillaries. I'm just going to get my finger in a really good position. I'm building up the anticipation here for you, okay? So you're going to see some capillaries, and you're actually going to see some of the red blood cells actually moving around. I'm just going to find a better picture. Here we go. Let's focus this up. It's a little bit fiddly, this one. Okay, press my button, bring my camera over. Let's see. So you can see the capillary loops there. You can actually see those loops are actually my... If you look very carefully at that one right in the middle, you can actually see there you go, the blood's moving around those now. Can you see that? Look at that. I think I'm a bit dehydrated this morning. My blood's a bit sluggish around there. But these capillary loops are delivering oxygen, nutrients to those tissues and taking carbon dioxide and waste products away. Look at that, isn't that pretty cool? Absolutely love this piece of kit. I could watch this all day. That'd be a good Facebook Live, just this all day for 24 hours. Would you watch that? Maybe not. Now this piece of kit is really useful at looking at your blood flow in these tissues with people that have a condition called Raynaud syndrome. And this condition is where kind of they get really cold, painful, pale peripheries because the blood circulation isn't very good to those regions of the body. And that's one piece. This is one piece of kit that could be used to look at the health of their tissues and how the condition is kind of progressing. Okay, I've actually forgot we've got one piece of kit we didn't do earlier on, and that's this piece of kit. It's the last demo we're going to do today before we finish. But this is called an infrared vein scanner. And we talked earlier about our veins and our arteries. Now your arteries are typically pretty deep inside your body wherever you go, and they only come to the surface where you can feel a pulse. Okay, in your peripheries, your veins actually come quite close to the surface of your skin as well. And we can actually see them, you can actually see them on the back of your hand. But if you're having trouble seeing them, we can use a piece of kit like this called an infrared vein scanner. Bitch, if you can hold your hand up, let's see how we do it. If you didn't practice this earlier, let's see if I can get this on here. So I shine this on Beatrice's hand. Come this way a little bit, sweetie. And I come across here. I think your blood vessels are a little bit too small to find. Let me try it on myself. Put my hand just there and make this a bit brighter as well. Let's change the colour. You should, hopefully, be able to see, get that in the right spot, some of my veins in the back of my hand. Let's change the colour a bit. Let's invert it as well. There you go. You see that blue line down there? That's one of my blood vessels going all the way down the back of my hand. And this is really useful if we can't see blood vessels, we want to take some blood, if we want to look for junction points, different skin colours. It might be difficult to see blood vessels sometimes, different skin thicknesses. And this machine is really useful for a phlebotomist or a nurse or a doctor, anyone that can take blood to try and identify where you can take blood from in kind of a more easy fashion. So that was the last demo we're going to do today. But a couple of last things I want to kind of mention. On Thursday we're doing another one, and we're going to look at our lungs Probably a slightly short assembly, but I'm going to show you a really cool video of the inside of my lungs, okay? I've had a camera put up my nose, into my throat, and down into my lungs, called a bronchoscopy. I'm going to show you that footage and explain why I had that done, okay? Now, I've actually written a book called Classroom to Clinic, okay? So, because of the current situation everyone's in, I want to make this as freely available on our Facebook page in a little while as a PDF for you to download, okay? Totally free. Just look out for a post later on our Facebook page with a PDF, and you can just download this book totally free for you to read. It's probably suitable for anyone in secondary school, although if you're in primary school and you want to read it, that's totally cool too. But there's loads of stuff in the back about different careers, and there's loads of stuff on, you know, how to write a CV and what all these different departments in a hospital kind of do. And I focus on something called healthcare science. Okay, so this is one of the areas that you don't hear about a lot, but are really, really important in the current kind of environment we're in. You probably hear on the news, classic kind of news readers going, doctors and nurses this, doctors and nurses that. Okay, they are on the front line, but behind the scenes, the people doing the testing are the people who I write about in this book. And they're from healthcare science, and they're pretty much biomedical scientists that work in laboratories, and they're doing all the kind of testing in the background, and we don't really hear about them. And they're really, really important because they do about 85% of all the diagnostic tests in a hospital. Okay, so healthcare scientists are really, really important, and that's what I write about in this book. And you can download your free copy a little bit later on our Facebook page. So just check back a little bit later on, and you should be able to see the PDF download link for you to download it and have a read of it at some point over the break we've got at the moment. Now, some of you watching. So, that's it for this episode. Remember, come back Thursday, 9:40 AM again. Thanks for everyone that's watching. We've had like over 500 people watching this today, which is absolutely amazing for our first one. Thank you so much. I can see all the amazing comments that we've got kind of here. I'm going to read through them all now. I'll try and drop you some replies as well later on. But thank you so much for watching, taking the time to come out and watch and leave comments for us. It's really nice, and I hope I've inspired some of you to think about how your body works, maybe go into a career in the NHS as well at some point in the future. But until Thursday, we'll see you soon. Bye.